Mizzou's Choral Union is a staple of the Columbia community, organizing hundreds of voices from campus and all over mid-Missouri to collaborate with professional orchestras, performers, and conductors for a single purpose: the power of sharing voice. I'm Rachael Norden, and each semester the Choral Union presents one major program. And just ahead, I speak with Dr. Brandon Boyd, Associate Professor and Director of Choral Activities at MU, on the upcoming spring performance, Franz Schubert's Mass in E-flat Major, and a little sneak peek into what's coming this fall as the union prepares for a special performance. So without any further ado, let's tune in. Well, thank you so much for joining me here today in studio to talk about the Spring Choral Union event, the concert coming up just in about a month here, April 16th. So when I was looking up the event, it's titled Spring Choral Union, and it's featuring the Columbia Civic Orchestra this year?
It is. Dr. Stefan Freund, who's one of my colleagues, he founded this particular orchestra, and this is his last year as the conductor, and so he will be passing that on to one of my other colleagues who will be taking on in the fall. But yes, I think it's just a great opportunity for us to collaborate with an orchestra, whether it's our University Symphony Orchestra, which is our university orchestra, or if it's our community group, or if we do other collaborations in the city. So we kind of alternate the semesters. It depends on which group we're going to kind of collaborate with. So this is great.
You've got a remarkable amount of options of collaborations for a town like Columbia. So I can see why you got to kind of try them out a little bit, work with everybody. So yes, the Spring Choral Union concert coming up next month, April 16th at 7 p.m., Jesse Auditorium, presented by the University Concert Series. I'd love to dig into any part of the program that you can give into.
Sure.
I saw we're doing Franz Schubert's Mass in E-flat Major.
That's true. A lot of people do the Mass in G, which is a very, very popular Mass. The Mass in E-flat is the last Mass of Schubert, and it is one that I think is very beautiful. It is completely, it has all the harmonic language you would expect of Schubert, and I think it has lots of charm. One of the things that's really unique about this is that it has 5 soloists. So it has the soprano, alto, 2 tenors, and a bass solo. And so I'm grateful that we're going to be able to use some of our students who are voice majors at the University of Missouri in our School of Music to sing some of those solos, and some professionals. So mix that in, giving them an opportunity to sing with an orchestra and to sing a major work, be a part of a major work. And this is quite a wonderful, and I will say that this began before I got to the University of Missouri. My other colleagues ran this program, and it runs well. I think it's great for our university singers to have an opportunity to collaborate with Choral Union, which is our community group. I mean, these are community members, some faculty members here at the university, and some members who live 10, 15 miles away, some live 30, 40 miles away, who come together to perform with us. And so the goal is always to sort of have a mixed bag. Every semester we do something different. We may do something very contemporary in the fall of last year, and then this year something that is a more traditional or.
I appreciate that you made that distinction, because I think I would even fall into the group of people who didn't or might not fully understand that the Choral Union is a community choral group. I think I spent so long thinking it was specifically associated with the university. So with this being the community choral group and the Community Civic Orchestra, this really is like a collaboration of Columbia musicians coming together for this big event.
Yeah, and Choral Union is adopted by the University of Missouri as a space for those who are community members and university faculty, staff, and students. So we have a lot of students in the group, which is great, because we have some who have requirements to be a part of a choral ensemble, and they choose Choral Union. It's one night a week, and it is it's interesting because some of them will say, I've never been in a choir in my life. So, when we're talking about vowels, they know what a vowel is, but they didn't know, that's why it's so important. Wow, consonants, they know what those are. But these kinds of work, I think, works are accessible enough for those who might be entry level into choir, but yet I think it's yet appealing to those who might have been in choir 50 years. And so that's sort of the balance with Choral Union that we have to constantly consider when choosing repertoire. And how long will it take to prepare, and will people feel comfortable after 10 rehearsals or 11 rehearsals? We kind of get 10 or 11 somewhere in that little block before we go into dress rehearsal mode.
Yeah. Well, 10 or 11, that's still a ton of rehearsal time.
Yeah.
So
Commitment.
very big commitment, but really iterates the work that's going in to this performance. So you mentioned five soloists.
Yeah, 5 soloists.
Besides those soloists, or if you'd like to name them, or the Civic Orchestra, do you have any other guest artists?
Not on this particular concert. We'll just it'll be the actual mass itself, and it will go through just as all the traditional mass, through the Kyrie, to the Gloria, the Credo, the Sanctus, the Benedictus, and then we end with the Agnus Dei. And that will be a myriad of styles through that, all through Schubert's pen. And it's definitely on a symphonic scale kind of a piece, and large. It's definitely has this harmony that definitely is connected to romanticism, and all of the things. The half steps make a big difference in one chord, and so as we rehearse these things, we're now beginning to understand the sort of the full idea of the whole work.
Yeah. So with the concert taking place in Jesse Auditorium, that's obviously a very big stage, very big space. So with all of these collaborations and individuals taking place, how big do you think this might end up being?
So it's we have about 80 in Choral Union, and we have 50 in our university singers. So it's about 130 singers, and then in the orchestra we have about 35 to 40 players. So it will be a wonderful space to present this concert, and I'm excited about it, very excited about it, because the students are already fully engaged in it, and that's what I do love about our students. They consume what we give them, and they they don't complain. Some I wouldn't expect them to, but I just love seeing how receptive they are to stuff that they don't know, because I often ask, have you ever heard of this piece before? And some people will say no. And that makes me feel good, because that means they're being exposed to material that they may not have, if they had not.
And what an experience, to get to perform that on such a large stage to such a large audience with such a large group of people. Yeah, absolutely. So it sounds like even from the audience perspective, this will be a completely immersive sound experience in Jesse Auditorium. Again, this event is happening in Jesse Auditorium Thursday, April 16th at 7 p.m. Ticket price has been listed at $23 to $29 based on where you're sitting, but that does include all of the fees, and you can find those in the link in the description of this episode here. Well, this really does sound like the culmination of everything y'all have been working on all year long, ending with the spring semester. So we've talked about that, but you did mention that you kind of wanted to tease a little bit of what might be coming later in the next year.
Oh, yes. Absolutely. I would love to promote that in the fall. We are celebrating America 250. We know that this is the year of the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence. And we are performing 2 pieces with all of our choirs and with our University Symphony Orchestra, which is very exciting, because one is a piece called Us, which stands for United States, by Michael Buzowitz, who's a colleague of mine. And we were both commissioned to write these 2 pieces. Us, and I wrote a piece called Redeem the Dream. And Redeem the Dream is the text of Langston Hughes. And that is... the text is really from a poem called Let America Be America Again. And it's a celebration of 250 years, whether we've gotten it completely right or some right and some wrong. And we all have our opinions about that. And I think that this is a great way to celebrate what is.
True.
We've been here 250 years, and we're hoping for 250 more. But these two works are very unique. And what I would love to say is I would love for people to join us. We would love to have 250 singers for this. And that's my little plug. 250 singers performing with us, with our University Symphony Orchestra, performing these two works that are quite accessible in their own way, but they're more meaningful than anything. And so we'll get a little classical music, you'll get a little reggae-ish, you'll get some gospel, you'll get a little jazz, and you'll come back to some more classical elements. So it's sort of an array of styles from both pieces, and I think they really fit well on one concert.
Yeah.
And I'm excited that our university singers will be premiering this piece in May, as I was sharing earlier with you, at Lincoln Center. And so we're going to be doing both pieces at Lincoln Center, and then we'll have a chance to do it again with Choral Union in the fall. So I'm just asking people to join us.
Totally. So on that note then, how does one join the Choral Union?
Absolutely. That's a great question. Well, we have registration that begins always in July, which is the month before we begin rehearsal. And it's on our University School of Music website. But I am always open to receiving emails as to how do I join. And I'm on the School of Music website. That's the Director of Choral Activities, and my email address is there. So I would love for people who are interested to just reach out, and I will definitely connect them with the link that they need to begin registering for the fall.
Awesome. Well, I'll make sure your contact info also goes in the description for our listeners. But that sounds amazing. Sounds like a really beautiful concert. And I appreciate the comment you had, just, it doesn't really matter where you're landing right now, but we can all agree things are a bit divisive.
Oh, yeah.
But music and art is the single best way for us to come together and remember, why we're celebrating 250 years of this country. And it sounds like this is going to be a really beautiful way to do that.
I love that you brought that point up, because quite often as I travel the world and the country, I tell people often in a choir, the only divisive tools we use would be putting sopranos here, altos here, tenors here, basses here. And that's just to build harmony. So those tools are to help us be placed where we are most comfortable or where we are designed to be. But it's not to make this party here and that party there. And so that's what this particular concert is all about, is bringing people of all backgrounds together. And just to understand that we have a civic duty to honor our country, because we could be in places where there are places in the world that are not as where we are, So we do have something to be grateful for, but we also need to be honest too. And I think, how can you be honest and grateful? I think it's all through the lens of respect.
I totally agree. Well, that's absolutely beautiful. I look forward to learning more about this program as the year comes. But listeners, remember to attend the Spring Choral Union concert that's happening with the Columbia Civic Orchestra. Again, Thursday, April 16th, 7 p.m. Check the description for link information, for ticketing information, and keep tuning in, Thinking Out Loud. I'm sure we will touch base again once the fall semester rolls around and we got a little bit more info on this really amazing event that sounds like it's coming down the line. So thank you for your time today, Dr. Boyd.
Inviting me.
That was Dr. Brandon Boyd, Associate Professor and Director of Choral Activities at MU, on the Choral Union's upcoming performance of Franz Schubert's Mass in E-flat Major, happening April 16th at 7 p.m. in Jesse Auditorium here on MU campus, all in collaboration with the Columbia Civic Orchestra. And a little something that got us excited for what's coming this fall in celebration of 250 years of America. Be sure to check out the episode description for more details and to get tickets, plus Dr. Boyd's contact information if you are interested in sharing your voice as part of the Choral Union this fall. I'm Rachael Norden, and you've been listening to Thinking Out Loud from KBIA 91.3 FM.